People of YouTube, may I present to you the show that decided to go on to 5 episodes and only went on to 3, and I was making the 4th one, so now it is on the number 4 episode of 5. Wanabee Comedy Damn it. Cut. Alright, wait. And there we go. Wanabee Comedy Standup. Wanabee Comedy Standup. Actually, it sounds pretty fun. On the bookshelves now. If you were to take the show and then to put it on a DVD and then put it on a bookshelf, it would be on a bookshelf. Now, actually I have a bookshelf behind me, and that's where I was getting the idea. Because, you know, when you have new books, they usually say they're on the bookshelf. But, I mean, you can't really do that with a DVD. But this is not really a DVD, it's on YouTube, so I guess it's on the YouTube shelf? Alright, wait, then let me do the startup again. Wanabee Comedy Stand-Up on the YouTube shelf. Available for those people who want it, clearly. Because, I mean, if you don't want it, why are you watching this? I mean, it's not like I'm making you. Unless, of course, you're a friend of mine, you know, or I have you on my MSN, and I've been poking at you to see this for the last 3 weeks. Which is quite possible. Alright, so we're back with Wanabee Comedy Stand-Up episode 4. I have yet to name this episode. Actually, that could be the name that I put it. I'm trying to think up of funny things, but what you don't get is that I'm making things up as I speak. So, to think up of funny stuff without any previous material and or preparation at all can be a little bit harder than it seems. But one thing I do know is that I am right now on my knees because the camera doesn't really reach my face and I can't really be standing up. It's not that I'm that tall, it's just that the camera doesn't really, you know, the thing I have the tripod is doesn't really go that high. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lay on my bed and maybe that'll help the thinking process. Get the blood flowing slightly easier. And, well, it's kind of hot, as we all know, it's summer. Also in Italy, yes, in Europe. And, Ecuador is out of the World Cup. I'm Ecuadorian. Oh, for the love of God. One thing I do have to mention before the show goes any further. I'm very afraid of stalkers. Now, I'm hoping that there aren't that many English-speaking stalkers in Italy with a grudge against Ecuadorian guys that do wannabe stand-up comedy. But if there are, I hope you're hot and you're a female. Very important. You want to stalk me? Great. Please, be a girl. Alright, last time we tried that, didn't work out too good. Now I'm going to move to the bed, because, well, you know, being on my knees, not as fun as it looks. And for those of you that didn't believe me, oh wait, no, that doesn't. There we go. It actually is true, I actually am on my knees. So, cut for a second. As we can now clearly see, I am laying down, so this can no longer be categorized as stand-up comedy. It is now laying down comedy. But it's not that funny, so it's not really that much of comedy. It's just guy laying on bed talking. Wow. I'm sorry, I do feel bad for you. For watching this. Alright, now among other things, let's see, things to talk about, because I have to think up of topics. You know, this ever happened to you? You're talking to, like, a person. Well, obviously, I mean, unless you're like me and you're talking to your pets. But you're talking to a person, right? And you have to think up of something to say. But sometimes you can't think up of something to say. So it gives for this awkward silence thing. Which is actually really bad on camera, which I edit out. I have about 2 hours of just silence between me and the camera. Because it's awkward, you know? And, I mean, I offer to get by to drink or something, and the camera obviously flat out refuses. And, well, long story short, don't try to hit on your camera because, well, you need it to tape you making an ass of yourself, and you don't want there to be any sort of awkwardness, you know, in the morning when you don't call. Besides that, thinking of other comedy things, but usually, like, the only comedy things that come up in my head are, like, American politics, and Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert already do that so well that I don't want to, you know, try to get into subjects that they're going to do much better than me. So if there's things that I want to talk about, I can't really think up of them. Because that's my problem. Actually, you know what? That's going to be the fun thing. You, the YouTube audience, send me subjects to talk about, and I will talk about them. I will actually research subjects that you send me, and I will talk about them. Including yourself. Including your grandparents. That'd be interesting. Somebody sends me their grandparents. I'll talk about them in the next episode. It'll be the public audience episode day. Or something like that. Which just shows that I need writers. Because, I mean, I don't think I'm funny, but I think that if I had writers, I could be funny, but I don't. So I'm not. Which, alright, well, wait, awkward silence. Oh yeah, awkward silence. Oh well, no, my camera's staring at me the wrong way. I shouldn't have hit on its cousin. But she was a good-looking cousin. It's weird how girl cameras can be so sexy. Girl cameras. And you have to differentiate them from guy cameras. Well, basically because they don't have a willy. That's how you tell the difference between a girl camera and a guy camera. That's the main difference. Now, I could stray now and talk about World Cup soccer. I mentioned Ecuador a little bit ago, but I'm not going to, because everybody else has mentioned World Cup soccer, and I want to talk about things that nobody really talks about because nobody cares about. So let's talk about the pigeons. They're there, right? But what do they do? You know? Because, I mean, a lot of people consider them rats with wings. I consider them wings with rats. How so? I'll explain. See, they have wings, right? And when they pass down by the ground, they usually pass by, you know, where there's a street. And in streets, at least as everybody knows, there are dead rats, you know, all over the street. Like in any other civilized country. So, when the birds swing their wings, flap their wings, near the street, the wings touch the blood of the rats. And that makes it, you know, wings with rats. Or something like that. See, now that's an official rant. That's what ranting is all about. That's what made this country great. That and jokes about people's hygiene. Now, what you cannot expect on this particular show is any sort of potty joke, any sort of joke of anything like that. And yes, it's just laying down comedy. But I can't think of anything to talk about. Not one thing to talk about. I have no subjects. And I don't mean that as you know, I'm a king and I have subjects, because I don't have that either. But I have no subjects to talk about, which I don't mean like I'm a king and I have subjects and I'm going to talk about them. I just thought up of something. Actually, I didn't show up. I have a teleprompter here. Actually, I don't have a teleprompter. I have a person that shows me stuff to talk about. The West Wing. Ever wonder why it's not the East Wing? More discrimination against Muslims? I'm thinking yes. Actually, that'd be interesting. Imagine in the Middle East, you know, like the Osama bin Laden version of the West Wing, the East Wing, and you have like Osama acting as that guy, Martin Sheen. You know, I can't imagine him with a haircut though, and then he just disappears without a trace. It's crazy, you know, because I mean, you know, he's there, and then he's got all these people looking for him, and then he just disappears. I think it'd be a pretty cool political show. Hey, has anybody else seen, and I'm sure that you've seen this because it was on the Colbert Report, have you seen that people are afraid that Superman's going gay? Yes, it's true. It's actually, it's a phenomenon that has to be dealt with. People are afraid of Superman's straightness, meaning he's not straight enough. Now, that affects me in a very real way, because I'm thinking, if Superman's not manly enough for girls these days, then what the hell am I? You know, where does that leave me? That leaves me without friends. That leaves me. You know, that just leaves me sad and alone and pathetic. Because I'm not. I mean, you get my point. If Superman's not manly enough, how am I to be manly enough? He's super. I'm not even Mega. You know, I don't even reach Mega Man. I can't shoot things out of my arm. Does anybody remember that Super Nintendo game? So I was reading this French dictionary the other day. And I was trying to pronounce the words, right? I was trying to pronounce the words, and I was sort of doing this thing which I'm trying not to throw up, but I do throw up, you know? Because you have to do like this blah thing, like noise, when you're talking in French. But waving your hand while playing Sims may not be the same thing. Let me explain. I'm trying to pronounce this word in French, right? I'm trying to pronounce like blah, blibbly, Colbert, you know what I'm saying? And at the same time, I'm thinking, you know, since you have all these hand gestures, that if I do the same hand gesture as a sim, in a French version of the Sims game, then I'm going to get the same effect. So I watch how Sims act in the French version of Sims during different social interactions, and the words that they say when their hand comes up, I try to move my hand the same way as that word would be. So I don't know if you're understanding this at all, but the basic effect would be that instead of actually talking French, I just move my hands the way that Sims would in a French-based Sim game. So basically, when I'm angry, I just go like, you know, and move everything around, and that basically is French to me.
You don't do that.
Yeah. So I guess that's the end of this particular edition. A lot of the things I said didn't make sense, and that probably means that not enough things that I said didn't make sense, because the point of this is that nothing makes sense. And if things started making sense at some point, I have failed as an entertainer. This is laying down stand-up comedy, Wanabee, or however it was. Wait, what was the title? Oh yeah, Wanabee Comedy Standup. No, Stand-up Wanabee Comedy, or something of the sort. But laying down, and not funny. Good day.